Good morning, folks. This is John Decker, the Director of Community Services at Alta California Regional Center. It's 11:03 a.m. Today is February 16th, 2024. Happy belated Valentine's Day to folks. And this is Coffee with Community Services, Alta California Regional Center's weekly service provider meeting. Currently have 63 folks on today. We are going to start off by going over our introductions of our staff that we have here, and then we will roll into our agenda. So for our introductions, we'll start off with staff, and then we've got some new staff introductions towards the end. So let me roll through real quickly. I see Gary this morning. Good morning. And I see Jaslyn. Good morning. And I see Shauna on. Good morning as well. And Tom from Community Services, and Jason, our lead community services specialist, and Kylie, one of our HCBS specialists. Good morning. I see Sydney on. Good morning as well. And Faye, our Associate Client Services Director, is here. Good morning, Faye. Our employment specialist, Carly, is here. And Rhonda, our housing specialist, is here as well. I see Rhonda. I got to remember to ask Rhonda to grab some materials to bring to our meeting this afternoon in West Sac or in Woodland. Let's see, we've got Michelle on, our community services manager. Good morning, Michelle. We've got my assistant Zach on. Good morning, Zach. BJ from residential management. Good morning, BJ. Let's see, well, we got Rihanna from community services, and Belinda and Damien as well, and Christine and Denise. Good morning. And let's see, we've got Alicia on. Good morning, Alicia, as well. And Elijah is here, and Isabella from Community Services, and Ethan from Community Services on. And we've got Jennifer on, our Client Services Director, and Christina Lane, Management from Residential as well. Our Director of Intake and Clinical Services, Camelia, is on. We got our Acute Care Coordinator slash lead community services specialist Heather here as well. And then we've got, and I don't, Helen, or do I have you on here right now? I don't know if I have Helen on here. I will then throw it over to introduce Jessica. So, Jessica, can I have you unmute yourself real quickly and say hi to folks?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica. I'm the new CSS. I am going to be working in early interventions and with behavior.
Excellent. Welcome. I know you're trying to absorb a lot. I was sharing with Jessica when I was started off as a community services specialist. It was pretty overwhelming, and it certainly took me, I would say, 3 to 6 months before I really started to feel comfortable with being able to provide a lot of supports to the service providers that I was working with, because I was so new to everything. But you've got a lot of folks around you that are here to support you, and we certainly want to welcome you to the team as well. And for Michelle, you've got some new staff to introduce too, and I'll let you do that.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm excited to introduce two of our new staff. So I will start with Melinda. Melinda will be, she's a new community service specialist specializing in generating and expanding resources for our deaf and hard of hearing clients. So Melinda, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Melinda Kimball, and I am a deaf and hard of hearing, as she said, community services specialist. I come from a background of education and special education, and I'm here to support the team the best I can. I'm looking forward to generating and expanding our vendor support so they understand that everyone can benefit from their services, and supporting this on a different perspective and getting that word out there. So I'm looking forward to collaborating with everyone, and it's my hope that you can contact me if you have any ideas, any concepts you want to just partner with. Please let me know. I'm new here, and I'm really reliant on all of you. So thank you very much for the warm welcome, and I'm happy to be a part of the team.
Thank you, Melinda. And if you want to put your email in the chat if anyone wants to connect with you. Perfect. Thank you. And then we also have Michael Mercado, who is our new deaf and hard of hearing specialist. So he will be supporting our agency and case management with any supports they're requesting for our families. But Michael, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, just a second. I'm looking for the interpreter so I can. Okay, perfect. Yes. Hi, yeah. My name is Michael. My last name is Mercado. I'm the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Specialist Coordinator. And my goal is to create a good coordination between case management and the clients and provide support and resources. Make sure that that were available for those deaf and hard of hearing clients and to support them. My background, prior to being here, I studied biology, graduated with a biology degree and human genetics, sorry. And it's kind of interesting how human genome works and how it relates to deafness and how it's come up lately as far as COVID goes. I graduated right at the end, right as COVID was starting, and the deaf and hard of hearing community had, I'd wanted to work with the deaf and hard of hearing community for a long time, and so with this position becoming available, I've worked with several different programs, including several different programs supporting deaf and hard of hearing individuals and interacting with the overlap between deaf and hard of hearing as well as the hearing community. And so I enjoy providing that support to that community and helping them become successful.
Thank you, Michael. And if you want to put your email in the chat as well.
Thank you very much, Michelle. And again, I kind of trapped Michael and Melinda at the client advisory committee meeting and talked with them about my thoughts about the importance of providing an opportunity for education to our community of service providers about the opportunities to provide further services for the deaf and hard of hearing population. And it's very important to me. I did recommend that they go back and take a look at the extent to which we included REMA very regularly in these meetings at the beginning of them. And once again, I just really want to be able to have this repository of support for you that are able to really be able to give that guidance on expanding your services to meet the needs of our population. I think the last assessment was that we had 1,500 individuals with either deaf or lower hearing levels for our regional center, and certainly not enough service providers to meet all of those needs. So very excited to have two individuals that are being able to start at the same time to be able to support these efforts. And I want to be the community that has the richest services available possible for this population. So very exciting stuff. Thank you so much, Michelle. And again, it's, being able to start multiple staff at the same time is also helpful. So a lot of extra work, but Michelle got it handled, and it's double the benefit to us to be able to get supports really on the case management side in the planning team meetings, but then also at the resource development side and supports for service providers. So cool stuff. Very excited about that. Speaking of spotlighting and talking about things, Jason, I don't believe we have a spotlight, but we can let people know to reach out to you, right?
Yes, yeah. If you would like to have your agency be spotlighted in our Coffee with Community Services, you can reach out to me and I can get that scheduled. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat.
Sorry, excellent. Again, there are so many new service providers that are coming on at our regional center. I believe it was about 250 or so last year. Between some of the folks in Helen's unit, I'm seeing like 3 or 4 like vendorizations in a week that are popping out. So I just know there's a lot of activity going on right now and want to give opportunities for folks to be aware of what services that we have. All right, so Michelle. Oh, there we go. Yes. So the sign of the week and the Deaf Culture 101 will start back up again in March. A little unfair for people's first meeting to ask them to do a training session for you all. But that being said, I hope, again, they will embrace it with the excitement that we all had when we were receiving it. And so we'll look forward to that in March. And thank you, Jason, for the provider spotlight information. And also, and this will be something for Michael and Michelle and Melinda, we need to follow up on, is now we're back with the interpreters. when we watch the recording of our Coffee with Community Services, let's make sure that we actually get the staff person that is signing spotlighted. So I got to make sure I'm doing that correctly when we do our recordings for these, because that was an issue for a long time. I think we did it right this time, but we'll double check that as well. Okay. And I want to jump over to the DSP stipend, Michelle. We're going to roll right into the agenda. We're going to go DSP stipend. We're going to talk about DDS coming next week. We're going to talk about the job fairs. Next week's Coffee with Community Services. We got a bunch of things coming up here, but let's roll into the DSP stipend first.
Are you able to let me share my screen, John?
I am. At this point, you can be trusted to be a co-host.
Okay. Okay, can you see the numbers?
We
Yes.
can see the numbers,
Okay.
yes.
So just wanted to give everyone a weekly update on our numbers. So statewide, we're at 45,299 total DSPs registered for the DSP stipend. And our weekly growth went up 6.5%. 180 new trainings were completed, and we still are Alta Regional and you vendors, applause again. We're still #1 in the total amount of trainings that our DSPs have taken. So I just wanted to provide that to you guys. I spoke with accounting this morning. There is a payment going out. The next payment will be Wednesday, the 21st of this month. And the total is about $345,000 that we will be sending out to providers for our DSPs. And then I wanted to also just give everyone an update. So we talked a little bit last week about really making that final push to get our DSPs on board and get training for this program as it does expire at the end of June. So my team and also Raven and Belinda, if you guys want to wave, they're my team of DSP stipend. And they're really going to be supporting us in this, and they have done a great job. But they will be at the job fairs that we have, just really pushing the DSP stipend and letting them know how great the program is and what it all entails. And I wanted to share the flyer with you that we will be sharing. Also the DSP, do you see that? Anybody? Thumbs up? Yes? Okay. So this is our flyer that we will be sharing, just letting our DSPs know what it is. How do you qualify? We put some information in there, how they can register, and then also any questions they have in our email contact. So we did meet with facility liaisons this week and sharing this flyer with them to go out when they go out to residential facilities. And we also will be asking any specialists that go out and do some just on-site tours and out in the field, kind of connecting with you guys as well to share these, post these in your facilities, in your day programs, anywhere, so that you guys we can get everybody to take advantage and fully trained on this program. And that's it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I think the outreach activities, the discussions that we continue to have here about the DSP stipend is the reason why we have such great utilization of the opportunity by our service providers and their DSPs. And again, the benefits are well outlined in the flyer. Now we have 2 flyers. So the residential folks are like, wait, we saw a different flyer on Monday. So there is the DDS flyer that has kind of the DDS overview, and then there's this one. So we're going to make both flyers available. We're going to send them out, Michelle, today. Let's do this. Let's have Herman send those out via MailChimp to all service providers. And then let's get copies of it over to the residential folks. But like when Kylie goes out, for example, and does her HCBS reviews, like she can bring those out and drop them off there, as well. We have so many opportunities where we're out in person with service providers and being able to just drop these off. And it's worth the photocopying cost for us to try to promote this more for your providers, because there's hundreds of dollars that they can get for the DSPs. As well, Michelle, I know we talked the last couple of weeks about the DSP stipend and the eligibility aspect of it, and also the reconciliation of, wait, who attended the training and how can I figure out these things? So as to the eligibility, I will just tell you, we've gotten, I feel like, pretty broad interpretation of the eligibility requirements for this. And we really want to err on pushing this out to people And I think the department does as well. So just really want to encourage people across sectors. And then as it relates to reconciling the billing and the uh, information that you receive from your service, from the DSPs that are doing it as well. My understanding is the turnaround time now is relatively quick as far as the response back. I appreciate the feedback that we received at the Provider Advisory Committee. I think it's Raven and Belinda, right, Michelle, that are primarily on our end, at least, being the ones that are doing the responses back to these things. And so it's great, to have that responsiveness to the service providers if people do have those questions. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Please don't let that keep you from participating in this program in any way, because we really want to get we've only got how much longer, Michelle? Just till June?
June 30th.
Yeah, so we're getting short on time, but let's get as many people as we can. I still, as I say, believe that we've got tens of thousands more DSPs that could do this, that just we have not gotten in front of or encouraged. We have let's see, anything in the chat? Oh yeah, very cool. Yes. And for the we have next week, we have DDS coming to Alta. They're going to be here for the community services directors meeting. That's going to be on Friday. We're going to have Jim Knight from DDS, and we're also going to have who's the I think he's deputy director in operations, and then we're going to have Aaron Christian, who is the Office of Community Community Operations. I don't know. They change the names of DDS frequently, but he's the assistant deputy director that's overseeing things like the statewide service provider directory and the way in which the quality incentives that you are all supposed to be working on whenever you find out what they are, and how that's going to correlate with the full rate study implementation. I kind of joke around about these things, but I joke because I just see the clock ticking towards June 30th, and that's still supposed to be part of you. If this does move forward with the rate study happening, still supposed to be part of it is that last 10% is supposed to be an earned aspect of some type of activity that's done by service providers. And so what we've requested an update for, and what we will bring back to you as service providers, is an update on what we've called the again, the vendor directory, the statewide vendor directory. My question, and Michelle and I had an opportunity to meet with DDS's contractors that are kind of working and looking at what the regional center impact's going to be. We have an idea about what your activities are going to have to be. Basically, you're going to have to, I'm Janice Camilla. I'm going to log in and I'm going to verify, right? I'm going to verify my address and I'm going to verify whatever. And then I'm going to send that over to the regional center. And then the regional center is going to verify that I verified it, and it's going to go in the system. That is like kind of some of the types of activities that we're talking about here, but there's thousands of you that bill us every month. And so it's just figuring out a way in which workload wise that we can handle it coming from you all into us, and then being able to do that in such a time frame so that if it does count towards your quality incentive, that the activities get done. So those are questions we're going to be asking. I really loved it when I heard that was going to be the only requirement that you guys were going to have to be able to get the final 10% for the rate study increase. But we know that the language that was put in for the California budget indicated that one of the things with the delay of the rate study implementation back to the original date was to give more time to work out some of what the quality incentives are. I don't know if there's been any update that any service providers might have from any of that. But yeah, all right. So let's see here. And then for Jim Knight, the specific question is about the transition of the service codes. So I currently have a service code 055 program. It looks like this. I want to transition somewhere else. There is a rate study crosswalk that has been in draft form since April, May of last year. And so we're going to be asking Jim, what is the status on that as well? Because there's still questions that we need answered. We still need to know if people are going to be revendoring and moving to different service codes between now and when we do have to implement the rate study. What are those activities that are going to be required by the regional centers? Is this going to be like a full revendorization? There's just details and information that we need to know in order to accomplish the last aspects of the rate study, because you guys heard my message, I think, last month from our executive director, who heard it from the director of DDS, who said, go tell all of your vendors and your staff and everyone to be prepared to fully implement the rate study, because right now that's what the law says. It's just a budget proposal right now to push the full implementation back to the next year. So all that being said, what I want to know is, and if folks are welcome to put it in the chat too between now, is are there other questions that folks might have for DDS, since they're going to be here next week? Like, they're going to be here in person. To me, I see Damien down there. One of my questions that for Jim Knight is, hey, is there an update on the transportation rates? Like the rate study, rates are, I think, across the board for transportation, it's been accepted that they need to be revised. And so I, for one, want to know about like transportation rates. And do we have, we know we all got it fixed for ILS rates, right? That got, it's already done. People should have all of their updated rates, but we still don't know what the deal is for transportation. Meanwhile, we're still vendoring people, at a pretty fast clip, and not really with a lot of surety down the line about what the rate methodology the state's going to land on. So that's one that I feel like is so important. It really should be like one of the first things. But if you're familiar with all kinds of different sectors of social services and legal services, transportation is a nightmare everywhere. It's very challenging to coordinate across all kinds of different sectors. And so that being said, I'm very pleased that we have so many new service providers for transportation. And I know we have a transportation vendor forum coming up, and that the invites went out for that as well. I didn't see Helen, but infant development programs. I believe we're still trying to find out new infant development program rates as well. So let's see. Does anyone have anything? Again, DDS is going to be here next week, and I'm not going to be doing this meeting next week. It's going to be our RFP orientation for CPP. So if you have anything, drop it in the chat.
Yeah. I know, John, we had also talked about specialized residential facilities and how they're going to intersect with the adult ARFPUSHNs, right? The
you're right.
adult residential facilities for people with special health care needs, because those are both under the same service code. So DDS was going to be determining if that will remain the same for both of those types of programs. So I'm super interested in hearing on that from the specialized resource development side.
Hey, Jan, what you put in the chat there is what we discussed at the last PAC meeting, I think, Lindsay Daiba, I hope, or someone else that was at the PAC meeting, because I think I believe that CCLN was going to put some type of the information in front of DDS to see if there was an ability for a possible rate fix. I think that's what it was, or maybe it was CDSA.
I contacted the website. I actually found on their website a way to submit under the 2023 rules of 24 hours in a year of sick pay. So I submitted and asked about the 5 days times 8 hours. And they said they were working on it. They would be updating things. So I hope they give us some notice. That would, but it doesn't hurt to.
I'm adding it to my list. Yeah, no, thank you. That's
thank
the type
you.
of stuff that I want to be able to report back on, Jan. So thank you. And
Thank
I
you.
had forgot about that from the provider advisory committee. And so thank you for that. I will follow up on that one. I'm just going to put it down in my notes here. There was a question about the rate study reflective of the current cost of inflation. I love asking my staff to explain the rate study to people, but I will take this question if that's okay with everyone. Yes. Okay. So as it relates to the rate study, there was the original calculation that was done. I don't know. Sometimes I like to share my screen to illustrate some of these things for those of you that are not super familiar with the terms that I'm using and the speed with which I talk when I'm using them. All right. So real quickly, let me go to the rate study here. Okay. So let me go to the rate study. I'm going to share my screen. Are you guys seeing, let's see, DDS's website?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So on the front page of DDS's website, you can go right here and you can find rate study implementation. So this has a few different things in it. One is it gives kind of like the timeline. So it talks about like what is currently in law for the implementation. It has the frequently asked questions. For me, what I feel like is very important is to take a look at the rate models and the rates. So Alta California Regional Center, for example. And this has just the list of all of our rates. Now, when they did the rate study initially, I believe it was what, 2017, 2018, right? And then they did one updating of the rate study calculations when they decided to implement it, but that was it. And that was pre-COVID. And so when you go to look at the complete rate models, some of the things like what popped up. Supported living popped up. Yay, check that out. So, to Hillary, to answer your questions, I don't know if today and age, if they would have redone this, that the rate study would have said that the direct care staff hourly wage is 1568. Like in honesty, it's probably different than that. But that was the way they calculated it. So, the way I look at it, though, and the way I kind of like to think of the rate study and explain it is that it allows for a common understanding of, in essence, how a rate methodology is built for the service. Some people agree with the rate methodology. Some of them were aligned with the way people had, but it is the way, with all of the data that they looked at to be able to come up with it. And with the hope then that when you have things like increased, you can plug in some of these, amounts directly into there when you need to look at just increasing people's rates that they have. Some rates are very complex. Supported living, there's a lot of different, line items that go into those rates. For some of the other rates, like, they're much smaller, but that is a great place if you do want to take a look at the rates and understand the rate study to be able to find it on our website. It's still what we use right now because it is the most comprehensive thing. One of the things that does not exist is great descriptions of what all of the rates are. If it doesn't coincide directly with something in Title 17 as far as a description of like a service code, sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge. And that's one of the things that is tough for our specialists is that not all of the rates like align for some of the like the 055 programs, the community-based day programs. So it's a challenge because you want to be very creative and offer a wide range of different types of services, but you also want to create it in such a way so that we can be uh, equitable when we're giving out rates to people, and also it's manageable and it keeps up with inflation. The big push is for the ARCA, at least the Association of Regional Center Agencies, and our regional center along with that, is that basically as time increases and inflation goes up, that we have an opportunity to increase the rates along with it. Having these rate freezes for the extent of time that we have, it just really doesn't make sense. Like it's really it's really driven down the abilities for you all to provide quality services to our clients, I feel like. So and I know it's an expensive system, but we're talking about creating amazing opportunities for people, and some of the most individualized things that Kylie wants to see you all doing and Alicia wants to see you guys doing through HCVS are also some of the most expensive things to be able to do as well, because it requires, lots of training for staff and lots of staff themselves and lower ratios of things to be able to offer those individualized services. So, any other questions about the rate study in general? We're still just the status right now. We're still waiting to see what may happen between now and when the budget is finalized in the summertime. Right now, we know that the proposal is to wind back the full implementation of the rate study to the original date that was in the budget next year, as opposed to doing it this year. And so our regional center strongly in support of the rate study being fully implemented in the month of June, at the end of month of June. Though we do know that's getting closer and closer, and there's a lot of activities that we are going to have to do as a regional center. So again, any questions about that? The upcoming budget hearings in March, the Senate and the Assembly will have hearings. There will be a lot of opportunities for advocacy, lots of opportunities for you as service providers to write letters, and to just show up in person. I have a feeling that those hearings, when they're going to be packed with service providers and clients that are speaking to the importance of having rates that are able to keep up with the tremendous costs that you guys have seen going up. All right. with that, that's also led us to have some challenges in being able to hire staff. And so we have at our regional center the ability to support some hiring activities for you all. I'm going to share my screen real quickly, and I've got a couple things on here that we've got coming up. So one is next Friday. We are going to be having our early start job fair, and it is going to be at Alta, and it's going to be going on during Coffee with Community Services. So you can I guess choose which one you want to pop in on. Hopefully, all of our early start service providers will be there and they'll have booths. I think we've got quite a few signed up that are going to be advertising for jobs. I'm seeing that this flyer has been posted all over the place. My understanding it's all out at the colleges and things. So I hope we get a large attendance there for this one. And again, that's going to be next Friday. Please don't. We'll be sharing it on our social media over the next week as well, trying to draw more people there. I will be right across the hallway with all of the community services directors who are going to walk right across the hallway and try to steal all of our early start vendors and try to get them to work all throughout the state of California. I just want to give you a heads up, Helen and Adriana and Jaslyn and everyone that works in these services, that we're gonna yeah, we've got some competition. People want more and more of these types of services. Carly, we've got the other flyer too, I think, right? Let's see.
Yeah, we
bring
have
that one
the job seeker flyer posted on the DSP Collaborative website.
Can you share the other flyer, or do you have it handy for these guys?
Yeah, I have it.
I'm gonna make you co-host. Thank you.
All right, this is the employer flyer for the upcoming Disability Industry Career Expo on April 23rd. This will be out in Yuba City at the Sutter One Stop. The Boyd Hall is right next to Sutter One Stop, so we'll be getting a lot of foot traffic from the people that they are supporting. We are also, we shared with them the DSP stipend flyer so that they can share that with the people they're supporting. So hopefully that'll be an incentive if they know that if they, you know, come and get hired by one of our vendors, then, you know, that's before the deadline. That's hopefully an extra incentive to come work for our service providers. We still have plenty of space. So if you're serving this area, please register here. You can click the link or scan here. This has been sent out to all providers, and your CSS specialist should have this flyer as well if you haven't had it. I will also put it in the chat.
Any questions about that? Since we have an audience, well, we got 77 folks on here right now. Carly, how are we doing on our reporting back from our Sierra College job fair?
We have about 15 responses. So I think about half of the people that attended.
All right, we're gonna work on this a little bit and make sure that we get a few more folks with responses back. Again, we want to be able to, we've already got some good like specific feedback. I think it was Michelle that forwarded me, or maybe it was Carly, someone forwarded me good feedback about the Sierra College one and some ideas about different times and things like that. And so very interested in Carly sent me that one. Yeah, just very interested in that feedback from folks that participated in those job fairs. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And Carly, did you just put the flyer in the chat?
I did.
Awesome. And so what do we have now? That's the one that we just shared, and that's where the people can do the sign up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. You know, I think even it's not inappropriate for us to start thinking about where we want to look at doing the next one of these again. You know, do we want to do it back on a community college campus? Do we want to do it at these job? I kind of like the job centers a little bit. I'll be honest with you. So Sierra College was fun, and I appreciate our partnership with Sierra College. It's just tough. The foot traffic's a little bit different than maybe we get at the job centers. But let's see how it goes. And I know we talked about Folsom Lake College possibly being a location in the future, and that gives us a good kind of geographic, and we could also look at Woodland too as well. So. Alrighty. Is that Jordan Eller?
Excellent. Happy Friday.
Do you have the
everyone.
notice? Do you have the notice handy?
I
for it?
do. I will share my
Cool.
screen. Do I have co-host permission?
You do now.
Okay, excellent. Here we go. All right, folks. So I know we talked about a little bit about this last week, but I have to keep promoting our request for future proposal for our 2023-2024 fiscal year for our community placement plan and community resource development plan. So we are going to be hosting it virtually right here in our normal slot for Coffee with Community Services next Friday from 11 to 12. We'll do, we'll present it all. We'll do the recording of it like we usually do. And then we'll save the last half an hour or so unrecorded for people who might have specific questions. All my staff will be there that are going to be working on these development plans. So you guys are going to get lots of good contacts for who you can follow up regarding any questions. Just to recap, on our projects this year, right? We are looking at an enhanced behavioral support home for adults that we are looking, right, that have behavioral support needs, right? Intense behavioral support needs. We are looking at that as both a step down and a deflection, right? Deflection option. So we have individuals in community crisis homes, or maybe people who are stepping out of the state operated facilities, right? So this could be a potential step down for them. We also have individuals that we're trying to deflect out of those locked state operated situations. So it can be for deflection as well. As you guys know, ensuring we have resources for our aging population is essential. So we are proposing another residential care facility for the elderly. We are also looking at proposing an FMS to provide support to clients who choose to receive their services through participant directed or self-determination, right? So that will be, we'll partner with Helen's unit on that one. We also have out-of-home respite. When Helen was our cultural diversity specialist, she had the opportunity to meet with a lot of non-English speaking families, and they really voiced a need for there to be a center-based out-of-home respite for their children, right? So we did get approval for that project. DDS does want us to try to focus on the non-English speaking families and clients. So that'll try to be the focus. We are also looking for a new psychiatrist to be vendored through our regional center. And we also have a need for clients that are have substance abuse disorders that are really trying to recover and get through some of those addictions. We are looking for an outpatient substance use disorder provider. Many of our clients sometimes have, well, not many, some of our clients have a struggle with being able to participate in the generic resource options. Some of them really need that curriculum for recovery broken down in more of a one-to-one session or with simpler language. So that is something that we hope this applicant could try to focus on for us. We also are looking at housing access services, right? And this will be, we're really trying to focus this new vendor on our outlying counties. We have some strong vendors in our Sacramento area, so trying to support more of those needs in our outlying areas. And then also the last one is our enhanced supported living services, right? So this will be for clients that are in need of more intensive supported living services due to their either medical support needs, behavioral support needs. Some of that is co-occurring mental health disorders, right? So really looking at our clients with complex needs and trying to secure them in that, in their own home setting and something that is not licensed, right? Some of our clients need access to residential options that are not under community care licensed care. So any questions on that? I will put the link in the chat. So you guys have it, I already did. So I hope to see all of your beautiful faces next Friday right here to talk about a request for future proposal. We'll go into each project in greater detail, talking about some of the funding and the different expectations that we would have for somebody who would be applying for that. We'll also go over the full schedule for when, right, we'll hold the request for future proposal, then people will have a few weeks to do their application, and then we'll be holding interviews, and then we'll be selecting folks. So we'll break down all those dates next week at our request for future proposal.
Right. Thank you very much. So again, the great opportunity for those of you that maybe have not applied for one of these previously because you were not aware of them. And then for those of you that are here that are managers from other units, and you guys don't always get to see these orientations that go on. And so if you want to sit in and learn more about the projects that they're looking at developing and also what it takes to get into one of these kind of specialized startup type of relationships with the regional center where there's DDS money tied to your project and a lot of DDS oversight and accountability as well. We'll look forward to talking more about that. So exciting, very cool, Jordan. We are going to be doing a 11 to 12 for the meeting. And it's very important we've learned to be aware of what the overtime rules are. So Jordan, the overtime rules for next week are going to be that we're turning the video off at 12 o'clock. And that
Perfect.
staff will be asking questions, but it's not going to be part of Coffee with Community Services and all that other stuff. So we're going to be done 11 to 12, and then we're good to go.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. And that's Jordan for CPP. Real quickly in the chat for folks, we have some upcoming meetings. I'm fairly certain that Michelle and I are going. I mean, Jennifer may be going too. We have next week the town hall in West Sacramento, and that is next Thursday. So I'm going to share my screen real quickly, and I'm going to go to our website, and I just want to show folks where you can find this information. All right, you guys seeing the front page of our website? All right, thank you, Denise. The first thumb up in the air. That's how I know. That's right. Thank you, Denise. All right. Alta Connections. Yeah, we'll go to that. All right. So you can see our quarterly newsletters that are on here, previous versions. And oh, look at that. It's the first thing that popped up right there. So this is for those of you, so real quickly, before I go into this, in the chat, for those of you that are service providers, if you serve Yolo County, would you mind just jumping in the chat and saying like your company and yes for Yolo or something like that? I'm very curious in the chat, which of you support clients that are in Yolo County? And I say that because we have a lot of Yolo County activity going on, and I wonder the extent to which I want to promote more of these things in this venue because, for example, we have these town hall meetings that are going on, and Michelle and I have had an opportunity last year to participate in them, and it's been a really positive way for us to get connected with the community out there. This is the Yolo County Commission on Aging and Adult Services. This is their DDID Aging Caregivers Task Force. We had one of our clients' family members that about a year and a half ago took some of the information from our Coordinated Future Planning Initiative, some of the data about concerns about aging caregivers that are providing supports for their aging loved ones with developmental disabilities in their homes. And Supervisor Jim Provenza, right here next to Michelle Johnson, really kind of took this on. Here he is at another one of the town halls. That's Sheila Allen, who is his deputy, who's running to replace him, I think, in Yolo County as supervisor. But it's been a great opportunity. You can see one of the meetings that we had here from us to be able to really hear from the community about what their concerns are related to the services and supports. And every time we go into those meetings, it's such an eye opener because we certainly have people that are sitting in there that, may have been served with 20 years from us. And some of the concepts, about independent living and supported living are things that, folks are not familiar with. Real quickly, the one that we have next week is February 22nd. It's going to be from 5:30 to 7. It's going to be in West Sacramento at the West Sacramento Community Center. We've got these upcoming meetings all throughout Yolo County. We've got coming up in Winters, Esparto, and then we're going to do a final meeting in person, or excuse me, via Zoom for the last one. So just want to promote that, and then I will jump over to the chat to see if any of you actually serve Yolo County. So, okay, very good. We got a few folks here. With that, for those of you that do serve Yolo County, if you are aware of any caregivers in Yolo County that might benefit or be interested in lending their voice to what their concerns are, as far as what their support needs are, ways in which the county may also be able to provide supports, this partnership, I will just share in our area, has led to Alta having a much closer relationship with the Yolo County Housing Authority. And because of that partnership, in the picture that I showed earlier, sitting next to Michelle Johnson, was Ian Evans. And Ian Evans is the director of Yolo County Housing. So the relationships that we've been able to build through this partnership in Yolo County, listening to the caregiver needs, has also really supported us in trying to expand housing opportunities in that area as well. So, Michelle, I know you've done these. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it, but I know I look forward to it. Michelle and I always spend like hours thinking about everything that was said in those meetings, and then we always talk about it the next morning. So, anything else, Michelle, about that other than next week?
No, always just a good opportunity. You've already highlighted to just engage with families and opportunity for us to kind of hear directly from folks and, you know, connect with them afterwards to ensure that their needs and stuff are being met. So, looking forward to it.
Thank you. I just, again, and then we've had our, typically our managers from our Woodland offices that have popped into the meetings as well and being able to listen to feedback from families that are there and even connect directly with families that are there too. So, and I really like that it's not us that are the ones that are putting the meeting on. It's nice that it's a partnership directly with the Yolo County Board of Supervisors, and the Commission on Aging and Adult Services, because that is a big push for our regional center, right, Michelle? More and more of a focus on aging services for our clients. I think we've kind of been talking about that a lot, and this aligns with it, right? All right. I want to share some more things real quickly from our friends at the Department of Developmental Services, if I can. One moment here. There we go. All right. We received information about the master plan for developmental services that the California Department of Health and Human Services. So you have, excuse me, the California Health and Human Services Agency. Get all of my bureaucracies correct. So yeah, the California Health and Human Services Agency. And does anyone know who the secretary is? Dr. Gawley? Yes? No? Maybe? He came to Alto once before COVID, and I think that's the last in-person meeting that they did with all the regional centers. But I'm going to share my screen real quickly. They've announced the stakeholder group for the master plan for aging. Let's see, and share. Cool. I recognize quite a bit of the folks that are on here. So certainly service providers, Gloria and Mark Klaus, the regional center directors are on here. Amy Westling from ARCA is on here. Many of you might be familiar with Barry Giardini. We've brought him here in the past before from CDSA. He's been a supporter of, well, he's been definitely a supporter of a lot of the things that we've tried to put forward here with the service providers. And so Barry's a part of that. Mark Melanson, who some of you may know from CCLN, we're very close with. Marty Emoto, very strong local advocate on there as well. Again, if you're familiar with kind of the statewide advocates, and there's some service providers, Lisa Cooley, very prominent local self-advocate here. So I'm good to see a lot of familiar names on there, and this will be a group of folks that will be working on developing the master plan for developmental services, similar to the master plan for aging. As we learn more about that, we'll certainly share that with folks as well. From DDS2, upcoming events, the employment work group meeting is on the 26th. And Carly, is that one on your schedule? The DDS one? Or can you put it on there? Okay, you're awesome. Thank you. Encourage folks to participate in the employment work group. I feel like Carol Watillo is typically she's either a member of it or she participates in it and gives us updates as well. So let's work on, we'll try to get an update back to this group after that meeting on what goes on at the upcoming employment work group. You can go to DDS's events calendar just from their main page. Everyone's hopefully seeing their main page right now. You can just go to their calendar and you can see what they have kind of coming up here for the near future. Additionally, in the discussions with Jordan a little bit earlier about doing the RFP orientation for CPP, and also the discussion last week about the new procedure for social recreation, camping, and non-medical therapies, and the revision that the regional center did to our social recreation policy. which I think we're still waiting for the response back from DDS on that response. I'd like to kind of revisit and relaunch kind of an idea of a request for proposal or a vendor orientation for social recreation services so that we can look at getting some more folks interested in at least maybe getting some of those easy vendorizations done, the ones that where people are not trying to create like a really specialized service, but are instead looking for funding mechanisms, to include our clients in more, uh, you know, social activities with the general community. The uh, materials that we have right now, the stuff that we developed with the Association of Regional Center Agencies back in 2022, 2021 are pretty good. But I think this venue might be a good spot for us to look at saying, hey, come to Coffee with Community Services and learn about being a social recreation vendor. And we can update our materials beforehand. So kind of looking for that one down the road in the future once we've got our approved procedure. And let's see here, Jordan or Helen or Michelle, anything else that I missed for today?
I don't think so, not on my agenda.
And then just let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. From our calendar, let me
I was
just go
gonna
over
say,
to
we do
our.
have a vendor forum coming up on the 21st.
Yeah, are you guys still seeing our Alta's website now? Yeah,
And John, could
All
you
right.
go to our POS data meeting too?
I will. I'm gonna go to it right now.
Thank
Sorry, I
you.
almost forgot about the calendar. There we go. Okay, so POS data meeting top front there, and we have an announcement from. Was that Jennifer
Hi.
Bloom?
Sure.
There she is.
Okay, so our POS data meeting is it's an annual meeting. It's required by all regional centers by the Department of Developmental Services. We have flyers in multiple languages on our website. It's going to be on Tuesday, March 19th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. and it's by Zoom, and registration is required, please. And this is an annual meeting, as I said, and the intention is to present our purchase of service data, our service access and equity grant projects, and discuss our specialized enhanced service coordination caseloads. And we love your feedback. We really need your feedback because we want to know. Oh, thank you, John. What areas you might have for suggestions, things that you think we're doing well, things we could improve upon, ideas you have to expand our initiatives. And we will have a presentation with our team, and we look forward to seeing as many of you there as possible.
Thank you very much, Jennifer.
Thank
That's
you.
perfect. And let me keep going down the line here on the calendar. All right. These were the town halls that we just discussed. Herman's also included them. And these are the town halls for the DD/ID Aging Caregivers Task Force in Yolo County. And then the RFP is posted on here as well with the RFP orientation for Coffee with Community Services. And 11/12, that part of it will be recorded. And Jordan, because it's recorded, we are no longer requiring something that we've required in the past.
That is accurate. We are no longer, you're going to want to go into it?
I want you to go into it.
Okay, perfect. So it has always been a requirement that people attend our RFP right in person to be able to apply to the project. Since we are holding it virtual this year, and we will have that opportunity to post that on our YouTube channel, right? We do want to open that up, right? Just for more possibilities and because people can watch that information. So we will share all the details next week with how people can get into contact with us if they do end up watching the YouTube video versus attending the live Zoom meeting, and how they can get the application to apply.
Thank you very much. Jaslyn, I thought there was a prettier flyer than this. If I make you co-host, are you able to share your flyer? Yes, maybe. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
And then, so we have Transportation Vendor Forum coming up as well. That's going to be February 28th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. And let's see, let me go back. Let's see what else we have here on our calendar. And then let me see if we have any other announcements. Michelle, Camelia, anyone else that?
Not today. Thank you.
For the one of the things, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but for the transportation vendor forum, Damien was in Helen's office, and we were saying that just when we have so many new service providers that come on, it might be just really good for us to do an in-person vendor forum, and provide an opportunity to be able to meet folks in person. And I know that we've shifted to doing so many things Zoom, but we also do this meeting Zoom as well. And we also have a lot of Zoom attendance for our provider advisory committee meeting. And so I'm really open to it. If I remember very fondly the packed rooms for the residential vendor forums, Denise, and the richness of the questions that came from a lot of our residential service providers when we did that. And a lot of that has kind of gone away with the Zoom aspect of it. In some ways, like I understand the convenience of it, but also it's just, I think, better to have that oh, Jaslyn put that in chat. Awesome. Let's see if I can open it.
John, to speak to that a little bit. So
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know. So our vendor forums for our adult and residential, or excuse me, all of our adult and residential vendor forums, the second forum of the year will be in person. So we do have those, and we'll be updating the calendar online for those as well.
Awesome. Again, I just we had not talked about doing one, I don't think, in person with the transportation folks yet. And I think that would just be very valuable with 11 new service providers that just got vendored in like a 1 month period too. So that, so we'll be talking about that. And then in the chat please, you can see the flyer there as well. And if there's no other announcements or anything, just the reminder for next week is that we are doing the RFP orientation for CPP projects. And we hope that this will spark a thought for some of you that maybe you wouldn't have done them, previously. Otherwise, we have a 3-day weekend at Alta California Regional Center. We hope folks have a fantastic time off and enjoy the rain. And we will look forward to talking to folks next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, interpreters.